Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today I wanted to talk about the world's bracket. Now that we have finally made it through groups, we have our top 8, and we will be moving on to kind of figure out who is likely to actually win the World Championship. How are these matchups likely to break down? I think there's a lot more spice this year because we don't have an SK Telecom T1 who's just absolutely rolling everything. We don't have a Samsung Galaxy. They were actually dropped out of the tournament. Gen G were not able to quite take the win there and weren't able to get out of the group stage. So I think there's a lot of just interesting things that could happen here in the bracket. So we will have to see what's going on, but today's video is basically going to be talking about all of that kind of stuff and moving on and talking about, you know, who I think is likely to win these brackets. So we're going to start with the top of the bracket and work our way down. First and foremost, talking about KT Rolster versus Invictus Gaming. Now, that is actually going to be played tonight at 9 p.m. Western time, so if you are up at that point, go ahead and take a look. But I do think, however, that KT Rolster is going to be the most likely, I would say, to win. They've been absolutely dominant. They are the #1 Korean seed, and they're playing the #3 Korean or Chinese seed in Invictus Gaming. I don't really think Invictus has what it takes to contend with that level of competition. They prove themselves in the group stage, but even in the group stage, they are only the 2nd seed out because Fnatic was able to absolutely just make a run of the group in that last stage and win the tiebreaker. So I think Invictus is just not looking that strong. KT Rolster, meanwhile, I don't think has dropped a game. So I do have to say it's going to be KT Rolster winning that one, probably in 3 games. Invictus might be able to get something in, but I kind of doubt it. Moving on to our next matchup, which again will be happening later tonight, we have Royal Never Give Up versus G2 Esports. Now, G2 have done quite well to get this far. I know I kind of talked shit about them earlier in the during the group stage and during the play-in stage, saying, oh, G2's look super shaky. I don't think they have what it takes to make it to the bracket, but they have surprised everybody. They've surpassed all expectations. They were able to actually knock the Flash Wolves out of contention, and here they are in the bracket facing off against the #1 Chinese seed in Royal Never Give Up. Now, I think G2 obviously has proven themselves to be a contender, but I don't think they have what it takes to deal with Royal Never Give Up. I feel like Royal has just been very flexible. They've been very dominant. They're able to just kind of roll their competition. And G2, while they might be able to get a sucker punch in and take a game off, especially if they're able to get the Hjarnadinger bot lane that they've been kind of famous for here at this Worlds, I don't think that they'll be able to ultimately take a full 5-game series off of Royal Never Give Up. I don't think they have just the ability to stay with it, the dominance, the ability to play the macro game. So we'll have to see, because this is the 2018 World Championships. Faker is dead and anything can happen. But I do have to say it's likely to be Royal. That is going to be my bet for who's going to win that. Now, between the two then, KT Rolster, Royal Never Give Up. That's a very even matchup. I think KT are hungrier than they have ever been before at this World. They've looked incredibly dominant, but they are up against KT Rolster, who are still very good. They are not a Samsung Galaxy. They're not an SK Telecom T1, but they are quite strong. Don't make any mistakes about it. So I think that will be a very close matchup. I would expect it to go to 5 games. It really could go either way. If I had to pick somebody, I'm going to give the edge to KT Rolster. I think it's just kind of silly to vote against the Korean teams. They've just been so consistent. But I wouldn't put it past Royal Never Give Up to finally defeat their Korean opposition and make it to the finals and have a good chance of winning it all, because there's only one Korean team on the other side of the bracket that they'd have to potentially play against. And I don't think the Freaks are going to make it, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I do think it'll be Royal Never Give Up who can take a victory over KT Rolster. KT Rolster is going to be my ultimate prediction. Final answer, set and done. But I wouldn't be surprised if Royal could win. Jumping over to the other side of the bracket, we have Afrika Freaks versus Cloud9. Now, this is actually really interesting because despite being super strong, despite being, an LCK region team, Afrika has looked really bad over this Worlds. They should have just run away with that group. That was what everyone was predicting them to do. That's what I predicted them to do. And instead, they just kind of fell apart. They were barely able to squeak their way into the bracket stage. So I do have to think that Afrika aren't quite as dominant as you would maybe expect going into Worlds. And Cloud9, meanwhile, I think have surpassed almost everyone's expectations. They have been performing incredibly well so far. They've had a lot of just excellent flex picks. They've had very good macro control. Just very, very nicely played by the North American squad. So I do actually want to say that I want to give my vote to Cloud9 here. Just given that Afrika hasn't looked that great, they haven't been able to roll the punches, and especially if Cloud9 is able to come out in Game 1 and beat Afrika, I think they just win the bracket in the match in 3 games, because I think Afrika is a little brittle at the moment. They were barely able to squeak through. They've had a little bit of time to kind of rest and relax and, collect themselves. But if Cloud9 comes out and sucker punches them right off the bat, I think Afrika, it's all going to go to pieces again, and they're just going to straight lose to Cloud9. I'm not going to put it past them to win. This is definitely not a Cloud9's guaranteed to win. No worries about it. But I do think that Cloud9 have the edge here. I will predict them to move on. Finally, we have Fnatic versus Edward Gaming. I think if you had to take the obvious guess, you'd say Edward Gaming. I think that they've proven themselves to be quite strong. They had to deal with a group with KT Rolster and were still able to trash most of the competition. So I don't think you can necessarily just say, oh, Edward Gaming will definitely lose to Fnatic. Fnatic has been playing out of their minds recently, but I think Edward's been the more consistent team internationally. I think Fnatic is still mostly a toss-up between if you're going to get Caps or Craps. I think that while the rest of the roster has kind of stepped up around him, I think Caps is just this sort of wild card that I don't know if he has what it takes to deal with Edward Gaming. So my prediction is going to be Edward Gaming. Obviously, as a Fnatic fan, I do want them to move on, and I think they have a good shot at doing it, but my prediction would be Edward Gaming. That would put it between Cloud9 and Edward Gaming. I do think that Cloud9 actually have an opportunity here as well. It's sort of the same deal here as between the Fnatic and Edward Gaming matchup, where I do kind of think that it could go either way. I think if you had to pick an edge, I would give it to Edward Gaming, but I do believe Cloud9 could win that. Now, you'll also notice that this is the first time we might have 2 Western teams facing each other in the semis if Cloud9 beat Afrika Freaks and Fnatic find the win against EDG, which would give us Cloud9 Fnatic in the semifinals, which would be super hype first and foremost, but second, it would mean that a Western team is guaranteed to make finals, which hasn't happened since Season 1, I think. Yeah, since Season 1, a Western team has not made finals at a World Championship, so that would be incredibly cool to see. I would love to see these 2 teams play each other. If it is Fnatic versus Cloud9, which we're going to go into kind of off predictions here, because I know I predicted Cloud9, but Edward Gaming to win. But if it is Fnatic Cloud9, I actually would expect Fnatic to win this. They've just been performing very well. I think that they are better at rolling with punches than Edward Gaming or Afrika Freaks. I think if Cloud9 tries to use any of their kind of pocket picks, I feel like Fnatic have better ways of playing around it. They have a more consistent roster. And we'll have to see. I think that'll be a really cool matchup to watch. Definitely could go either way. I would expect it to go 5 games either way. I'm going to give the edge to Fnatic here, but I do think that Cloud9 have about an equal chance to win it. So we'll have to see what ends up happening there. And that would give our final matchup. Actual predictions, we're going to say KT Rolster and Edward Gaming. Which I think KT Rolster absolutely just rolls it if it is EDG, unfortunately. However, if RNG are able to beat KT Rolster, if they are the ones in the finals, I think if it's Edward Gaming against Royal Never Give Up in the finals, Royal is like guaranteed to win. They've already been beating up on these guys. I don't think they have a chance. Conversely, if a Western team against Royal Never Give Up, I think they have a decent chance of being able to come out on top of that. I think Royal's been quite strong, but they don't have the just sheer dominance that the Korean rosters oftentimes have. And I think that with all the sucker punches that the West has been throwing in this World's Championship, I think they have a good shot at coming out on top if it is against Royal Never Give Up. I think they have an okay shot if it's KT Rolster. I wouldn't give them very good odds, but I think they have an opportunity. But Royal Never Give Up is going to be the best opportunity. So if you're looking for a Western team to win, you're essentially looking for Fnatic to beat EDG, Cloud9 to beat Afrika Freaks, one of the 2 to beat each other. You're really hoping Royal is able to take down KT Rolster, and then you have Royal versus either Cloud9 or Fnatic in the end of the day as the potential final matchup. I think that would give the West the best chance to possibly win, but we'll have to see. Again, I do think it'll be KT Rolster winning the whole thing. It just doesn't pay to root against Koreans. But again, like I said before, it's 2018. Anything can happen at Worlds. Gen G didn't even make it to the bracket stage, so you know it's a brand new World baby. There's a whole bunch of things that could happen, so we'll have to see. Go ahead and let me know what your predictions are down in the comment section below. Would love to hear your thoughts. If you think I'm completely off base for daring to say Cloud9 won't make it, go ahead and let me know. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts, just in general, about who you think is going to win, how you think the matchups will play out. Would love to hear about it. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. And if you're looking for more Grab the Lantern content, you can check out my blog, which is linked down in the description. I upload an article just about each and every single day for your enjoyment. And yes, I know I missed my uploads earlier this week. I do apologize, I was going through some stuff, but we should be back on the upload train with today's video, so you should be able to look forward to that on Monday. Anyways, once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.